Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your girl Mercedes. Uh, I recently released a album titled "The World of Ryder Rage." For those of you who follow my work and uh, are interested in my work, and for those of you who don't know, well, hey, what's up? I'm Mercedes, and if you'd like to check out my work, you can. I have Reverb Nation, and I have Bandcamp, and I have SoundCloud. I will leave links in the description box below so you can go check those out if you don't know who the fuck I am. Anyway, to get this started, for people who have heard the record and have heard my other tracks, because I have another project that I released in 2014 in September. It was my mixtape, Street 902. And this year, 2016, March 1st, I released my full-length album, The World of Ryder Rage, which looks like this here. There's the back of it, all the tracks. There's 10 tracks on it. It's my first full-length album. It was in the works for a little while. I'd say the end of 2014 throughout 2015, had it in the works. And I wanted to do this vlog. I've never done a vlog before, so barring if my video skills aren't professional, this is my first one. So I thought about doing this because I wanted to kind of give you guys who are familiar with my work a little insight on the record and just kind of how I did it, and you know, sort of kind of a little story behind it. So kind of the making of it, I guess we could call this. Even for those who are, you know, more on the tech side of things, you know, a little bit like myself, because for those who don't know, I am a sound engineer as well as an MC. I'd like to share a little bit of the nuts and bolts of it, you know, kind of some of the recording equipment that I used to do this and where I did it and all that stuff. But anyway, we'll go through all that stuff when we get there. So anyway, I'm going to start off with giving the concept of the record, which the concept of the album came out probably in the probably beginning summer of 2014. I had met my co-producer, Axe Ruler, who worked with me on this record. He did all the beats for this album. And I wanted to kind of go into a different side of me, because with my mixtape Street 902, I kind of was introducing people to myself, you know, kind of introducing the world to Mersaidies and kind of giving you a little insight of me, but also kind of giving you a little insight of kind of like my dark side and then my not dark side, you know what I mean? Kind of giving you that little introduction to me, I guess, is the best way for me to describe it. So with this one, I wanted to kind of go a little bit more intense, a little darker, kind of doing the bad guy thing a little bit, because there was a lot of topic that I wanted to talk about and I wanted to share. So I wanted to kind of go more into talking about not only like some personal things about me, but just kind of my opinion of certain things, like, because, you know, I know a lot of people may rag on hip-hop or give hip-hop a hard time because a lot of people think that, you know, we're very hateful and we're just a bunch of thugs or, you know, misogynists or whatever. They just think that we're very negative and we don't have any kind of positivity that comes from us. Some people will argue that, and then there's other people who will say that, you know, hip-hop is great, it has great raw messages and things like that. But anyway, so I just kind of wanted to sort of, you know, slap back at that and just say, you know what, everybody's entitled to their opinion, but, you know, hip-hop, are we really that bad just because, you know, we speak the truth in a very raw and real way? You know, so I wanted to kind of do that sort of, you know, are we bad guys or are we just dark heroes sort of thing. So anyway, at first I kind of knew I wanted to go into that sort of concept for the album. So I started listening to some tracks and kind of getting a feel for what I wanted to do and things that I wanted to say. And then kind of as the album went, I started kind of knowing more what direction I wanted to go in. But when I really knew what I was going to do with the album, it's kind of a funny story. I was on Facebook. It was like probably 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. Anyway, and one of my friends who I went to recording arts with, that was a sound engineering program I took, he did one of those Facebook quiz things. It was the which Batman villain you are. And I know this sounds really, really stupid and really fucked up, but there's a point behind this. But anyway, and also I love comics. I love DC and Marvel, by the way, so that's why it intrigued me. But anyway, so I was like, oh, that's kind of neat. Sometimes I do them for fun, you know, some of the quizzes. So anyway, he got the Riddler, in case anybody was curious. So I did it, and I got Catwoman. And she is one of my favorite DC characters. Anyway. And what it was saying about her is that for Catwoman, what's kind of neat about her is that she's a villain, but she's not. You know, because she's a villain because she's a jewel thief, but at the same time, she's good because she helps Batman. You know, she kind of has a soft spot for him. You know, she's always got his back in a lot of ways. So just the idea, I guess, just kind of hit me, and it just kind of made me reflect on me and how people have viewed me, and how people view hip-hop in general. And it just kind of gave me that concept of, you know, I'll make a record of basically giving people that option of, you know, do you think that I'm a villain, or do you think that I'm just a dark hero kind of deal? Because I guess, you know, every hero has kind of got a little bit of skeletons in their closet, right? When you look at different superheroes in comics, you know, they've been through some things. Obviously, you know, when you see with a lot of the characters. So anyway, I kind of wanted to just go and do something like that, you know, like, and bring up the topics that a lot of people have talked about, you know, the negativity of hip-hop, and, you know, trying to trash talk it. Because, you know, obviously, you know, I could strongly relate to that, because people used to judge me a lot. They shouldn't say used to, they still do. And use that to kind of create this story that I'm doing. So I created my character, or kind of that, I shouldn't say character, more that other side of me, Ryder Rage. And I was going to basically wanted to make an album with her telling her story. You know, this is things through her eyes, you know. This is kind of her speaking her mind and saying what she wants to say. So I guess you could sort of view it a little bit as like kind of like a comic book in a way, you know. Here's a character, and here's her kind of sharing her story a little bit. These are her thoughts and her views and whatnot. This is kind of who she is. And then kind of when you look at each track, you think, you know, is she really bad because she's, you know, voicing these things, or is she just trying to make a change in the big picture? You know, is she trying to do something good? But some people are going to view it as her being bad. So, that's what I wanted to do with this album, and I was very happy with how it came out. I was very happy with, I think that Axe and I were a great pair to do this record. His beats are really dope. You should check him out for anybody who's looking for beats. He's pretty cool. I think we really fit well. He really knew what I believe he really saw my vision. You know, because when I told him the concept of the record, kind of what I wanted to do, I feel like he really knew what I wanted to go for, and every track he sent me was like, yeah, man, that could be for the track. Like, you know, he just, he was a good pair for this, and I was happy that we worked on this record together, because I think he really understood what I wanted to do, and what direction I wanted to go into. So I was very happy with this. And so I guess for this next piece here, I'm just gonna talk about each track and kind of give you a little bit of a closer look at them. I mean, this is kind of mostly like, from my view, just kind of a brief summary of what I was thinking when I wrote these, just kind of what I was envisioning. Obviously, when people hear things or see things, they all interpreted it differently. So I'll just tell you from me, from the artist, this is kind of what I was saying when I was doing each track. So I'll start with the first one here, which is the welcome intro, which is featuring Kirk O.V. He is a good friend of mine. He's from Official Night Owls. He also did the beat for this track. This was the only one that Axe didn't do, was just this first one here. And a little fun fact, Axe actually had another track for me that we were thinking of putting on the album, but it actually didn't make the album, because I kind of made the decision that I wanted to put this one on instead, just because I felt like this one fit the album so well. I mean, the other one fit very well too, but this one just really, really fit the record, and I just could not have it on. And also, the verse that I wrote for this song is one of my favorite verses I've written for myself, and I really, really wanted to have it on this album, so I went through some struggles to get it. Nothing like, because, not in a sense because nobody wanted it on the record, it's just, we ran into some technical difficulties with it. Some files had gotten lost because, technology fails sometimes, and had to kind of it was a process to try and, be able to get it together. So for anybody who was wondering why the album was kind of delayed for a little while, well, that's just because I was trying to get that track, and it was a process trying to get it together, but it happened, so we got it. Actually, what I ended up doing, a little fun fact about it is, this track was originally a full-length song that was going to be on Kirk O.V.'s project. It was him featuring myself, but it didn't end up making his album, so I really love the track, and I wanted to use it for the World of Ryder Rage. And what ended up happening was he was going to give me the session and get everything so that way I could put it on this album, but unfortunately his computer crashed on him and he lost a lot of his files, which is unfortunate because he has a lot of work. He's an amazing dude. And so I only had the instrumental that had the hook on it, because he did the hook in a verse and then I did a verse. So when he sent me the beat, he just had just the hook in it, just to kind of give me, so I could have an idea of what I was going to write to and stuff like that. So I just had a beat with the hook. And there wasn't really much time to be able to record it so all over again, because that's what we would have had to have done. So I sat and kind of brainstormed about it and thought about what I was going to do, because at first I thought about not even putting it on. I thought about just putting it on the other song that me and Axe were thinking about. But then I was like, nope, I really have my heart set on this song, and I really want it on here. So I was like, I'm going to make this work somehow. So I went to him, with his blessing. I said, you know what, I'd like to take that song and I'd like to chop it up a little bit and turn it into an intro for the album, because I don't really have anything to introduce the album a little bit, so I'd like to have something to introduce it, something to open up the record. So I asked him, if I could kind of tweak it a little bit and make it more like an intro, like I'd have his hook in there and then kind of have my verse and just my verse only. And he was cool with that. So what I ended up doing is I took his hook that he did for it, and then I put it with a piano piece that a friend of mine did. His name is Chris Lozone. He's pretty awesome. What up, bestie? Still my bestie. Anyway, and he did the piano piece for it, and basically, because I wanted to have just me rapping over piano, because I think it's really cool. I've heard it done, and I really liked it. I heard it actually once before, and then from a film. At the end of a film, it was done, and I loved it. And then I know that Big Sean also recently did it with his album Dark Sky Paradise, which is an awesome record. Definitely should check that out. He did it with his song One Man Can Change the World. And I love piano. I play a little bit of it myself. So I really wanted to kind of have something like that where it's just me rapping over piano, which may seem strange to some people because obviously hip hop is always over a beat. But I just wanted to do something creative, something different, and just kind of, do a little something that I always wanted to do. So I did that and created and built a little intro. And it really turned out awesome. So I love it, and I definitely am happy that it was able to make the record because I really adore it. And I mean, Kirk V is awesome, and me and him work very well together as well. We definitely are on the same path when we're doing a song and we have like a vision for something. We always know what we're thinking, and we just have that good chemistry when it comes to like artist and producer. So and it's great to have that. That's definitely something I think that you need, or I should say that I know that you need for sure, to be able to make awesome music. Right? It's all about that chemistry and having that good vibe, right? Good vibes are good. So anyway, I'll move on to the next track because I don't want to ramble too long on you. There's a next one, which is Shame on Me, second song on the record. And that one is basically me kind of going on a spew about how people are like, kind of think about how to word this. They're all like, oh, you shouldn't be saying that, that girl's a hoe because, she wanders around with her boobs out. That's being hateful towards women. I'm a bad person for saying that. But then again, it's like, you say I'm bad because I say this stuff, but then again, this female wanders around with her boobs out, and some people are like, oh, that's so hot, it's the new thing. And I'm like, how is it okay for some woman to be wandering around with her boobs out, regardless of what y'all opinion will be, because there are going to be some people who are going to hate and whatever. Everyone's got a right to their opinion. But for me, I don't think it's classy. I don't think there's anything sexy about it. Girl, I don't need to see your boobs. I got my own boobs. If I want to look at boobs, I can look at my own. I don't need to see yours. So that's the bottom line for that. How am I bad because I'm just trying to spread, a positive message about, girl, love yourself, respect yourself, because if you degrade yourself, others will degrade you. So, you get what you give kind of thing. So that's basically sort of when I'm going for that. And also, I'm sticking up for hip hop a lot in many ways for this song, I should say, because of how people say, oh, hip hop, degrades women, it's full of hate and all this stuff. And I'm like, well, you know what? They're just saying how they see things. If, like I said earlier, you get what you give. If you wander around looking like trash, ladies, people are going to treat you like trash. They're going to be like, oh, look at this dirty bitch because, you're wearing something slutty, and it's just, it's not classy. It's tacky, very tacky, despite what some people's opinions may be, whatever, it's tacky. At the end of the day, you can look nice and look fabulous without having to show all kinds of skin, I mean, for example, look at Princess Kate. That woman looks awesome all the time. Girl, you look amazing all the friggin' time. I've never seen her wear anything ugly, and she never has anything tacky or raunchy on. So, just a personal opinion. Like I said, these are my thoughts, my opinions, and these are things that I stand for. I know not everyone's going to stand behind me when I say certain things, but that's life. That's the world, and I don't give a fuck. Because I say what I say, and I stand up for what I believe in always. So, that's the bottom line for that, despite what anybody's opinion may be. These are my thoughts, these are my opinions. And I'm allowed to share them, just like you're allowed to share yours. So, that's basically a track that I wanted to kind of make sort of, kind of a voice for hip-hop, just saying, you know what? you say this about us, you know, but have you looked at yourself lately? You know, don't say shit about us and make us the bad guy all the time, because we're not. So anyway, that's basically the bottom line for that song. I'll move on to the next one here, which is Slaughter, which is the third song on the album here. Third song. That one is kind of a little bit, that's kind of a personal track a little bit, I think. Comes on a personal level. Because I know it may sound like I'm just rapping about being a crazy psycho bitch. But basically what I'm trying to do, like realistically, I'm not just trying to be a crazy psycho bitch. I'm basically, I'm gonna say this, I'm basically throwing it at people what they threw at me, because people used to, actually, like I said, I shouldn't say used to, because they still do. People judge me and criticize me a lot, and I know everybody gets judged and criticized. I know a lot of y'all can relate to that, because we all do, and you're always going to, because there's always going to be somebody out there who's going to judge you or have an opinion or whatever, you know. So people never typically gave me a chance that much, you know, like when people, I wasn't the person that people were like, you know what, I'll sit and get to know this person before I judge them, right? People used to like to automatically judge me and think that I was weird and that I was crazy and that, you know, I wasn't cool at all, or whatever I guess you'd want to call it, you know, like when I was younger, you know, like in school and stuff, you know, because I was bullied and a lot, which a lot of us get bullied. I bet there's a billion stories out there of people getting bullied and whatnot. It happens because people are just assholes, and that's just life. But you know, it's something you kind of have to fight through, and just at the end of the day try to not let people beat you down. I know it's easier said than done, but you got to keep your head up no matter what, right? So music was kind of my way of helping me do that. Obviously, you know, everybody's got their own way of surviving in life, right? Especially through the tough times. So Slaughter was basically just kind of me saying, you know, oh, you think I'm like this? Well, then here you go. Fine. I'll give you a little bit of this, you know? And that's kind of basically the whole sort of gist about what I was doing with that song. You know, you want to think I'm a psycho? Fine. You want to think that I'm hateful and that I'm angry? Sure. Why not? Let's be hateful and angry today. You know? It was basically just me kind of letting that out, throwing that out there, just being like, you know what, sure, why not? You know, this is how you always saw me and claim that I was like, you know, instead of just giving me a chance just to sit and get to know me and know what's inside, instead of just judging me automatically on the outside because of, you know, what you see or what you hear. So, that was basically what I was doing with that song, just kind of throwing that shit back in people's faces. Okay, I'm like, whatever, fine, I'm a psycho. Hi. So anyway, I'll move on to my next track, which is Criminal Mind. It is the fourth song. It's right there. You can see that. That one, it's funny because in that one I sound like a psycho too. Which, I mean, I'm crazy, but I'm harmless crazy. I'm not like, you know, I'm no murderer or anything, I promise. That one is basically like, I know when you listen to this song, people are going to be like, oh, you're writing a song about killing somebody. Well, isn't that pleasant? And it's like, yeah, I know it sounds, well, it is, but I'm trying to think about how to just explain this. I'm basically just saying that, you know, everybody's human. And when we get angry, everybody in the world has their moments where they're like, I hate that person. I wish they'd go jump off a cliff. You know, we all have that moment. You know, for whatever reason it is. And, you know, for this case, I'll say specifically in the love department. You know, when somebody hurts you. You know, which is kind of neat because it's going to tie into the next track that I'm going to talk about, the fifth track on the album, which is Love, Hate, War. You know, I believe I could probably tie these two together, because for Criminal Mind, it's kind of that you're enraged, you're upset, and you're hurt, because it's like, you ass, you hurt me, you know, how could you do this? You know, I loved you, and it's just that pain, you know? It's that angry red little nasty rage side of you that's like, you know, how could they do that? You know, this person I don't want around anymore because they hurt me. You know, just the thought of that person just being out of the picture, just, you're like, oh, I could do that right now because that person just, I have no use for them, you know, because they hurt you so much. And we're all human, and we're gonna feel pain, and that's basically what I'm saying. Underneath it all, like, I know it sounds like I'm, you know, like I'm talking about murdering somebody, but really what I'm saying is, you know, I'm human, and I feel pain, and I hurt, you know, and I hurt a lot. Even though you may not think I'm hurting a lot, or I don't look like I'm hurting a lot, I really am. I mean, not saying that you should go out and kill anybody, because you shouldn't. Not smart at all. Don't do that. But it's just, it was my way of kind of releasing that anger, and just, because at the end of the day, I look at music as my journal. You know, it's where all my thoughts and my opinions and everything go into, is my music. That's where it goes. You know, where other people, they'll write journals or diaries and they lock it up and nobody reads it. You know, that's your personal thoughts and your personal opinions, and that's for you to write on a piece of paper to get off your chest, because, you know, it's very therapeutic to write about things. You know, it helps a lot, you know, for different people. So having a journal is a healthy thing, in case if there's anybody curious about it or has one. You know, there's nothing wrong with having journals, you know, because I believe you need to get that stuff off your chest when you're going through stuff. So writing about it can be a really great thing. So, you know, obviously for me, since I'm an MC, I'm a songwriter, you know, I write about it in my music. So the only difference between basically your journal and my journal is that, you know, your journal gets hidden away, nobody sees it. Me, everybody gets to see my journal. Everybody gets to hear my journal because it's my music and I put it out there. So you basically get to know inside and out of me. Whether it's the good times or it's the bad times, you guys get to hear it and you get to see what and experience what's going on in my head, you know, or in my heart, because that's what I do in my music. So everything I talk about, I be honest and real. I don't hide anything, because this is how I deal with life, is by writing about it in my work. And, you know, because I always write from the heart. So, because it's weird when I say this, I can't write from my brain, because your brain, you can control what your mind says, but you can't control what your heart says. And that's what I always say when it comes to writing, is that I can control what my thoughts are, what I think, but I can't control how I'm feeling. And that's kind of tie into the next song I mentioned, which is Love, Hate, War, about how when you care about somebody, you know, your mind will be like, you know what, fuck that person. They're a piece of shit. I don't need them. But then your heart is saying, I love that person. I miss that person. I wish this would have worked out. Why did things have to turn sour? You know, it's terrible. I want to go back to the way things were when we were happy. And that's how your heart feels. You know, and then in that same time, like I said, your mind's like, oh, you don't need that person. They suck. You can find somebody so much better. You know, they're not going to do well without you. You know what I mean? Like, you kind of have that battle between your heart and your mind, because your heart is like, you know, oh, I miss that person. And then your brain's like, fuck that person. They suck. I don't need that piece of shit. Whatever. He's a little bitch, or she's a little bitch, or whatever, right? So that's basically what I was going with in that song. And, you know, because we've all been in that position, I'm sure. And for you who haven't, you probably will, but I hope you don't, because it sucks. But at the same time, if you do, you definitely learn. You know, because struggles make you smarter and they make you stronger. So, nothing wrong with going through a little bit of life, right? Because it teaches you something. You know, if whether you think it might be the worst thing in the world, you might not understand it right now, but there's a reasoning behind it. And that's actually a really wise piece of advice that a very wise friend of mine gave to me back when I was in high school. She said, you know what? things may seem absolutely shitty right now, and she goes, you don't understand why, but she goes, you know, whether it's in a week from now, 2 weeks from now, or 10 fucking years from now, she goes, it will all make sense. You will know why it was like that. You know what I mean? Like, you'll probably realize that, you know, it was for the best, you know, of why it didn't work out with a certain person. And that's one of the best love advices I've ever gotten from someone, is they said, you know what, it may suck right now, but in the long run, you'll probably be like, you know what, that was definitely the best decision, that it didn't work out. Also, another great piece of love advice I got from a friend was that if you keep picking the same kind of shitty person over and over, you know, if you're saying it's probably because you're stupid and making dumb choices, yes, it actually is. Because I was that person. I kept picking the same kind of shitty people. But when I heard this from, it was a male friend of mine, he told me, he goes, you know what, you keep picking the same kind of guys because you haven't learned your fucking lesson yet. And he said it just like that. And I needed to hear that. You know, even though it sounds harsh, but it wasn't. Because I was like, you know what, you're right. I haven't learned my lesson. Because if I did learn my lesson, I would correct my mistakes, and I would be like, you know what, the next one is going to be an awesome one, because I'm not fucking up anymore. So, for anybody who needs, you know, a little bit of insight of why they keep picking shitty people, that might be why. Because you haven't learned your lesson yet. So, just think about that. So, anyway, enough of the depressing, lovey songs. I want to move into the next track here, which is These MCs, song number 6 there. It's a more upbeat, fun track. I like it. I think it's kind of, it was, as soon as I heard the beat, I knew it was something that was going to kind of lighten up the mood a little bit. Because, you know, it's a pretty intense album. There's a lot of rage and a lot of anger in it. So I wanted to have a few tracks on there that, you know, lighten up the mood a little bit. You know, I didn't want to have it all completely, like, you know, intense and in the dark. So I did this track, These MCs. And it's kind of me just poking fun at, you know, shitty rappers, pretty much. I think y'all know what I'm talking about, especially for those of you who love old school hip hop, you know, like Tupac, Biggie, you know, Run DMC and Big L and NWA, all those awesome guys. Y'all know what I'm talking about when I say some of those shitty rappers that are kind of have came out in like the recent years that are just talking about stupid shit that we're just like, what the fuck is this guy saying? Like, what is this shit? This is whack. But you know what I mean? Y'all know what I'm saying. For y'all hardcore hip hop heads, you know what I'm saying when you hear about shitty lyrics and like just like you're like, wow, how did this person come about? But anyway, that's basically kind of what that song is, me poking fun at those people. You know, saying like, what happened to great hip hop? You know, like back in the day. You know, we need more of that again. I mean, I have seen some of it. There are some really dope MCs that have, you know, come out in recent years that are really awesome, but, you know, I'm just kind of saying, we know we need more awesome MCs, you know. There shouldn't be any shitty ones. I mean, there shouldn't be any shitty music in general, you know. There should always be great music. I know, unfortunately, you know, you're not going to be loved by everybody, but, you know, those annoying, I call them annoying jingles, you know, those just annoying songs that it's like, that's not even a song, that's just, you know, that was just whipped up to be popular and make some money. Nobody cares what it's going to do in the next 2 years or not, you know what I mean? We don't need any of that. You want to have classics, I guess you can say, you know. We need to see those things, because music is, you know, is art, and it's something that, you know, people should be taking, I don't say taken seriously, but I guess you could say taken seriously, you know. I think that, you know, your work is very important, and people, it's kind of sad to see people sort of just brew up something quick just to have it popular for 15 minutes, you know. I think that so much more could be done, and I think the music world would be a much better place if they had less of that. But anyway, that's the world. Can't change it, right? So that track is basically just kind of me poking fun at those people. And the next track here I'll move on to, which is number 7. It's Can't Beat Me Down, right there. That track is another upbeat track. It's basically just one of those ambitious songs about, don't let people knock you down. If you feel like you failed, don't worry, it's not over. It's not over until you quit. So if you don't give up, it's not over. No matter how many times you fail or how many times a door gets slammed in your face, it's not over. You keep going and don't quit. Because when you quit, that's when it's over. Because you are the only person that makes it over, is you. Nobody else. So that song is kind of that lift your spirit kind of song. Because we've all had some hard times where people weren't exactly in our corners when it comes to wanting to achieve stuff. Whether it's myself or if it's you or people whoever it is. I'm sure we've all wanted to achieve goals that people weren't exactly supportive of, So sometimes you gotta walk that road alone, but you know what? I'm telling you right now, it's worth it. You may be walking it alone, but it'll make you stronger, and it'll make you that much better. I shouldn't even say make you that much better. I should trying to figure out how to kind of word it, but it'll really show you what you're capable of. It'll teach you that, you are capable of so much. Even when you have very little help from people, you can go a long way, if you really have your mind set to something. So that's basically sort of what that track and that idea is basically, because I'm very much for dreams and goals. I believe that you should never let anybody tell you that you can't do something. So that's basically what that track is. I'll move on to the next one, which is number 8, What Feelings Sound Like. And with that track, that's basically me talking about how music makes us feel. Because the hook is basically like, music is what feelings sound like. So, and I mean, I guess that right there is self-explanatory. It's just me saying about that music, whether it gives you a happy feeling or a sad feeling or excited or love feeling or whatever. Music is basically our feelings in sound form, is basically how I look at it. And that actually got inspired when I was looking at some pictures to hang in my room. I think it was at Just Go Bed Bath & Beyond, but anyway, I have a photograph and it's of a microphone. It actually has that saying on it, music is what feelings sound like. And that kind of inspired that song because it's definitely the truth. Music is feelings in sound form. And that's just the bottom line. It's basically the only thing I can really say about that. So yeah, I'll move on to number 9, which is the album song, Ryder Rage, which is right there, hitting the right one, yep. For those of you who've seen me perform live under 902 Nonstop's events, we've been at like Hugo's and Jacob's Lounge. I've heard that's a favorite of your guys's, so if y'all come to the shows and I'm there, I want to see you, jamming along with me to that one, because I've heard it's a favorite from you guys. So, as I always say, don't be fucking shy, because it's you guys that make the shows awesome. Not just us as the artists. You guys are heavily involved too. When you guys are having a great time and you guys are feeling the tracks and you're involved, that's what makes it so much better. And it makes it that much more fun to perform, because it's like, we're all in this together. I make this music, for you guys. Not just for me, I make it for you as well. For all of us. We're a little squad here. We're in this together. So I enjoy that you guys enjoy this. because I feel like I'm inspiring you guys, and I feel like I'm accomplishing what I'm setting out to do, which is to inspire people and just, not trying to sound corny here, but basically just to inspire you, really, is I guess the best way for me to describe it, is just to inspire you, and guys, just to be who you want to be and do what you want to do in life, you know, and not be afraid to express yourself, whether you're mad or you're happy or you're sad, whatever it is. So you guys being involved makes it all that much better. So don't be afraid to be involved, you know, when we're doing live performances. So especially, you know, like with the song Ryder Rage, it's the album song, and it's basically me just kind of telling you who Ryder Rage is. It's basically her kind of giving you a glimpse into her soul and into her mind, and just showing you, like, this is me. I'm Ryder Rage. It's nice to meet you, kind of deal, right? And that's and it sort of also kind of sums up a little bit of the album, the whole album as well, by, you know, saying, like, you know, you may see me as this or this, you know, what you know, like, what do you really, like, what am I really? It's up to you, I guess, to decide what you think. It's up to you whether you think I'm bad or I'm good, you know, my villain or my dark hero. It's all up to you on how you want to view it and how you want to take it. So I'll move on to the last song, because I've been rambling for 41 minutes now, but which is Never Knew. Last song here. It's actually one of my favorite beats. I love the beat. I don't know if I just love the classic hip hop vibe to it, because it's, you know, got the, like, the turntable sounds in it, and I don't know, I love it, and it's intense too, and it's just, I don't know, it was one of my favorites. I mean, all the tracks on here are my favorites. I mean, I love all the beats and stuff, but Never Knew was definitely one that caught my attention a lot. So was Ryder Rage. But for Never Knew is basically kind of my outro for this album. It's basically me kind of summing everything up and kind of closing out the record. You know, because at the end of the song, you kind of hear me saying, you know, who's the real villain? Is it hip-hop or is it you? You know, is it the people who criticize hip-hop all the time, or is us in hip-hop really a bunch of assholes who are just hateful? You know, that's basically kind of what that last song is me doing, is kind of just summing everything up. In the whole, kind of sum up the whole album and kind of ending it out, kind of like an outro of everything that I've discussed on the record. And also, I even mentioned a few other things in there that have bothered me, but I mean, I guess that goes all into the record, because there's some topics I hit in there about how, you know, some people like to come out and say that hip-hop is only for certain people, you know, because there's been people out there, I'll use one name, I don't really care if, I don't even know if this bitch has any fans, but whatever, even if she does, I don't give a shit what your opinion of me is. Azalea Banks, who come out and, I mean, that bitch does a lot of crazy shit anyway, but the one thing I didn't like is how she tried to say that, you know, that white people, for, you know, for instance, didn't belong in the house of hip-hop. And to me, it's kind of like, you know, who the fuck are you? Are you some culture critic? Like, you know, who says that, you know, color has to be specific in hip-hop, you know? Hip-hop is art, you know, it's music, and I don't think that anybody should be telling anybody that they don't belong somewhere. I believe that if you're good at what you do, it doesn't matter what color of your skin is, and obviously that's been proven. You know, like, if it doesn't even matter, like, even with just music, you know, if you want to play a certain sport, or you want to play, you know, certain kind of music, or if you want to be a painter, or whatever you want to do, nobody should be telling you that you can't do it because of your race or your gender. You know, I don't think anybody has the right to say that. You have no right to tell me that I can't do something because I'm white, or because I'm a girl, or whatever. Like, fuck you. That's all I've got to say is fuck you. because you're not going to tell me otherwise. I don't care if you don't think that, you know, I should be doing something because I'm a girl or because I'm white or whatever. I don't give a shit what your opinion is. You're not who gave you the law and said, "Oh, you're not allowed to do this or that." Like, no, you have no right. You may have that opinion, but your opinion doesn't mean shit because I'm allowed to do what I want. If I'm happy with what I'm doing and I'm good at what I'm doing, it doesn't matter if I'm a girl or whatever. That shit doesn't matter. If I'm good at what I do, that's what counts. So, fuck off to you idiots because you make yourself look ridiculous. In case you didn't know. But then again, you probably wouldn't because you're too simple-minded to know. But whatever. Enough shine for them. That last song is basically me just summing up the record. Just kind of summing up everything that Ryder Rage is basically talking about in the album. So, to sum this up, I'll use this last little bit here because I've been gabbing for 46 minutes and I don't want to bore you guys because I probably am very, very boring talker. Basically, I like to kind of end this off by just, for those who are curious, because as I mentioned, you know, I'm a sound engineer. I studied sound engineering. I wanted to kind of give you, for those who are curious about like the tech side, a little bit of the nuts and bolts of how I did this record. I used a Behringer, I think it's like a 12 channel board. You can use it for like studio stuff or even live sound for those who are into live sound. And I have Pro Tools program. And I used a lot of plugins. I don't have any hardware gear. I wish I did because I've seen a lot of nice stuff, especially when I was in school. Some really nice limiters and compressors and a lot of nice EQs and stuff that I wish I could have, but not in the budget. Not right now anyway. But I have an NT1A Rode mic that I used, which sounds great for hip-hop. I did a little bit of research on it first before I had bought it, because I know there's quite a few microphones that are really good for hip-hop. There's the SM7B, which is pretty good for hip-hop. Not even only hip-hop, but that one's actually really great for metal, for anybody who's into metal. That one's really good for it. I heard it's microphone used like in radio and stuff a lot as well. It's about a $350 mic, I think. I was researching a few prices, but you could probably shop around depending on where you live. Actually, and a favorite microphone of mine, which I actually recorded my Street 902 album with. This is when I was in school, you know, because I had access to a lot of nice stuff. I used the U87, which I so wish I fucking had, but it's like a $3,000 mic. But it's so nice. For any engineer who knows what I'm talking about, you know it's probably a pretty nice mic. You know, I love that mic and I wish I owned one, but at the same time, as I've had engineers tell me, it doesn't even really matter if you have something expensive or you have something that's average or cheaper price. As long as you know how to use your stuff, that's what counts the most. You know, as long as you know what you're doing, you can make anything work, whether it's something cheaper or it's something that's really high end. Because even if you get something that's high end, if you don't know how to use your shit, it's not gonna work. So it's all about knowledge, people. Knowledge is power. Never thought I'd say that, but here I am. So yeah, for some of the plugins that I used an EQ7 band. It comes with Pro Tools. Actually, it's pretty good. It's pretty decent, actually. I like using it. I like to purchase some more plugins, though, obviously, because who doesn't want to have all kinds of nice stuff to record with? But anyway, I also, for reverbs, I used a Deverb, which also comes with Pro Tools. It's a nice reverb. You get some nice options in there with it. And it's really easy to use. And I also, I just used some compressors, trying to remember I think they're compressor limiters. I'm trying to remember the names of them on the plugins there, but that I use for compressing. And even with some of the tracks, some of them I did some layering on them to kind of, because I do like to do some layering for some tracks, because I mean, I guess it depends on what kind of sound I'm going for, what kind of vision I'm going for the track. But I layered some of them, or sometimes, like, I like reverb. As you know, it's like, I like reverbs, and I also like delays. I used a lot of delays on some of them too, because I like that delays kind of give that nice, it kind of gives a, you know, some depth, you know? It gives it a nice little touch to it. Like at the end, like on my song Never Knew, at the end of the track, the very last line of that, I actually used a long delay on it, you know, because I just found it kind of gave that nice little echo without, like, because a reverb can, but the delay, I liked how it kind of gave it that nice sort of, trying to think how to word it, but kind of nice layered kind of echo to it. Because I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain, I guess. I don't know, I shouldn't say it's hard to explain. It's all preference, really. It's all preference. It's not even a must. It's just whatever you prefer. You know, whatever kind of vision you're going for. But even like when I recorded some of the songs, I had ideas in my head about how I was going to mix them. Like what, if I was going to use a delay on certain stuff or a reverb, which I think is also pretty neat when you're a sound engineer, that you get to, and you're an artist too, you can kind of, when you're writing stuff and recording it, you can be like, yeah, I'm gonna record this line like this, and then I'll throw a delay on it, and it can sound like this and give it that feel. I like it because it kind of gives you a little bit more creative control kind of behind what you're doing. So, yeah, I guess that's really the nuts and bolts of it. Just for like absorbent pieces, I just use some really thick blankets around me to have some nice absorbent piece. They work really well. We use them in the studio sometimes, like when I was in school, because they give it a nice little clean sound. But like I said, at the end of the day, it really depends on what you're looking for. It all depends on what you want. You know, you may, I've even seen some people stand in the middle of a friggin' hallway and belt their heart away, you know, because it just, that hallway just had that nice kind of reverb sound to it, you know. So, as my teacher always used to say, there's no rules, only guidelines. And sometimes I used to think he was kind of crazy, but I get now a little more what he was saying when he says that. So, you know, he was definitely, understand him a little better. But I guess once you get out there and you kind of start doing your stuff, and you're like, I get what he means. So anyway, yeah, I guess that's pretty well all I wanted to talk about. The album is out now. I have a few hard copies left, and like I said, if you want to check it out, for those like who haven't heard it, you can get it on Bandcamp. It's Bandcamp, or www.mersaidies.bandcamp.com, or you can check it out on SoundCloud, Reverb Nation. I also have Twitter and Instagram and Facebook for anybody who wants to check out my pages. I'll link them all down below in the description box for anybody who hasn't heard my stuff and wants to check it out. And for those of you who have heard my stuff and enjoy my stuff, I appreciate all your support. I appreciate you guys spending your hard-earned money to come out and watch me perform live, or even just checking out my music. I appreciate you taking that few minutes to click the links and to listen to my tracks, you know, because you don't have to give me that time, and you do, so it really means a lot. And I just want to take that time to say that, to know that you are most certainly appreciated. So anyway, I wanted to do this vlog. I know it's been like 54 minutes. Hope I didn't bore you too much, but I just wanted to kind of do this to kind of give you guys a closer insight into this record, and kind of show you, you know, this is what I was thinking when I did this, and this is, you know, kind of the idea behind it, just to give you a closer look. So if you guys want me to do more of this, you know, just to kind of come on here and chat with you guys and kind of tell you a little bit about, you know, what I'm doing for like an album or whatever, then, you know, click the like button and, or, you know, leave a comment, you know, or hit me up on Facebook or Twitter, Instagram, you know, whatever, and, you know, let me know if you enjoy these videos of me talking about, you know, the ideas behind the album and just kind of, you know, the behind the scenes and giving you a closer look, like I said, you know, into what I'm doing. So anyway, I thank you guys for watching and listening to me ramble for like almost an hour. You guys are awesome, and I will see you guys, for those who live in the area of, you know, Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. I will see you, hopefully, June 25th at Hugo's Bar and Grill. It's on Windmill Road. Love you guys. You're awesome as fuck. And hopefully we'll chat again soon. Peace out.